Aligning your boundaries plus policies with purpose. I feel like this is so powerful, especially when I was going through the Proverbs 31 woman. She planned a lot. She wasn't reactive, but she was also respected. And I feel, I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel when you respect yourself, you tell people how to respect you. And when you don't do things out of emotion or being like a hothead or not necessarily in alignment. And when you have these boundaries and procedures and policies, for example, somebody no shows you, what are you going to do? You're going to teach them either you're going to things do happen, obviously, but what if somebody completely no shows you? What are you going to do to protect yourself and your business? Because as we know, the Proverbs 31 woman, she was fruitful and she had profit. And there's no way we can have profit if we don't have our policies, our procedures, and our boundaries. When she speaks, her words are wise and she gives instruction with kindness. So at least when I struggled, I always thought setting boundaries wasn't necessarily kind. It's telling somebody no, it's not giving them their way. But that's not what that means at all. It's just respecting yourself, your time, and your business and protecting it because we're here for the long run. So, burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a red flag that boundaries are missing. In the group, I see so often people are like, I am so burnt out. I'm so burnt out. And that comes from not being happy. Like maybe you are taking clients, they're not respecting your time, they're not paying you, you're undercharging yourself so you don't have time to take vacation with your family. As an esthetician, we pour so much of ourselves into our clients, our businesses, and our work. But without clear boundaries, even the most passionate professional will eventually burn out. We do need time to rest. Boundaries aren't mean, boundaries are wise. The myth in this industry that you have to choose to be nice or flexible or be structured and firm, but the Proverbs 31 woman proves otherwise. She wasn't respected because she said yes to everything. I love that. She was respected because she led with clarity, kindness, wisdom. Her instructions weren't emotional reactions, they were thoughtful, intentional, rooted in love, not fear. I love where it says her instructions weren't emotional or reaction. I feel like sometimes it might pile up on you. Okay, they didn't show up. Okay, they didn't show up. Okay, they didn't show up. And then you're like, they didn't show up. I'm going to charge. And then it ends up being something like that. Versus like the minute the client books, they already know that there's going to be a cancellation fee or they have to reschedule within a certain amount of time. So they're already very clear. So when you have to put those things into effect, it's already set like, hey, you guys, this is my policy. So there's no really going back and forth. Why boundaries matter spiritually plus strategically. The Prov 31 woman was not passive. She watched over her affairs of her husband, made smart investments, prepared for the future with confidence. She didn't wait for chaos to arrive. She planned ahead with wisdom. I love that she's a planner. So she's planning for the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. And she is planning. She said she would look over her crop. She probably had a structure. She was like, this is how I do things. This is what I'm assuming. Your business deserves that same strategy. Your peace, your time, and your energy deserves protection. I feel like really protecting ourselves, like God wants you to honor yourself. And also people around you should respect the boundaries that you're comfortable with. When you create and uphold boundaries, you're communicating your value, establishing professionalism. So you're like, hey, you have to show up 15 minutes early. This is where the parking. You're giving your clients what to expect, creating a safe and clarity for your clients. You're protecting your time, your energy, your income. That's very important. We're setting a standard that is going to be respect and that our clients are going to align with us. Boundaries aren't just for your benefit. They're a loving structure for your client as well.
So go back to that last slide. I don't know when I'm supposed to chime in.
I'll tell you right now. Go ahead. You can chime
Oh,
in.
no. Go back to the last slide because I have a question for the girls.
Here?
No, the other, that one. Yes, the bullet points. Um, how do you communicate your value right now? I
What
don't
is
know if
that?
any.
What is that question? Can you be a little more clear on the
Yeah,
question?
because it's your first bullet point, communicate your value. So how are you communicating your value to your clients and to yourself? How are you doing that? I really genuinely want to know if anybody wants to be brave enough to type it in the chat box. I would love to know that. And
So
establish,
I can respond to that.
yeah.
So for me, I know how she was talking about, the no shows and trying to avoid that and how every client's not for you. I've actually been an esthetician for a little over 10 years now, but I have had different seasons in my aesthetic business. And so one thing that I learned is things happen. Sometimes people just don't respect your time. So what I started to do is I set a deposit. So upon booking, I don't have a booking site. I just book like directly. So why problem? And I collect a deposit. So they know in advance. It's a $50 deposit. And you have to reschedule within the 48 hours. If not, your deposit is void. And so they know up front. Now, sometimes I understand that things happen, emergencies come up, and then, they already expect, okay, well, the deposit is gone. But, obviously, if I feel like, okay, well, this is something that it couldn't have been avoided and things happen, then of course, I'll talk to them and say, hey, I get it. This happened. Don't worry about it. But it's just kind of setting, like she said, those boundaries and not thinking like, oh, it's mean, because it's not. This is your bread and butter and this is how you make a living. So I think just setting those boundaries and those rules and of appreciating and valuing my time, and in turn they will appreciate and value my time.
Yeah, that was really well said. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was very well said. I was like, do I need to take a deposit?
Everybody communicates differently, and I think I just wanted to hear like some different ways of how you were communicating your value, because that ties into the boundaries, right?
Definitely, I think so. I know that I think honestly everyone should be collecting a deposit because again, sometimes especially with new clientele, like I said, I don't have a booking site. I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to like my schedule because I'm a mom too, so I'm like, okay, if things come up, I don't want them to have to go through that or me. So I like to kind of have that direct communication with them, whether it's a phone call or a text. And I feel like having that deposit, it almost like some people don't want to lose their money, so they're like, if they're thinking on backing out, they double think that again, like, okay, no, I already put that deposit and I'm not getting it back. Because I send that out once they book it and they send it, I send everything out like your deposit is null and void if you do not show up, and you have to reschedule, by this time. And so it's like the rules are there. It's like if you go to a med spa, they have those same requirements. So it's like, well, why shouldn't we?
Yeah,
For sure.
that's
Jessica
so.
said, I have a policy tab on my website menu, so it set the expectation right away. Also, clients need to put a card on file to book.
Yeah, I love that.
Communicate your value speaks into the love for your business. How they
Mm.
book or schedule or cancel your business policies Candice for arriving, leaving, treating the guests the way you'd want to be treated. Omi said, upon booking, I send them my booking policy and require a deposit. By booking, they agree to my policies. That's what I do. And then Jessica said, now if someone reaches out and says that they had an emergency, I take it case by case and not charge a no-show fee cancellation. Of course.
Right.
Wait, go back. I missed one. Oops. Okay. So on the next, so this is for Maxine. Go ahead. So I'll
Oh,
say,
that's
what a good business boundaries look like, and you can come in whenever you'd like. Healthy boundaries sound like this. Clients must cancel or reschedule 72 hours in advance. Now, I actually started putting 72 hours in advance because it gave me more time to plan. Like, it sends out so many reminders, especially here in LA. You kind of know if you're not going to be able to make it, and it's worked really well for me. Late arrivals beyond 10 minutes may need to be rescheduled. I actually leave a little bit more time because in LA there's always some kind of traffic. All appointments require a deposit to hold your spot. No guest or children during the service to maintain safety and focus. One time I was dermaplaning somebody and I didn't have my policies and procedures, and she brought her dog. Now she puts the dog here and I'm like, this already seems like a terrible idea. And I'm doing this and the dog barks. Scares me so much I cut her. And ultimately, it's not her fault, it's my fault. Because I should have said, no dogs allowed. Because who's gonna get in trouble? Me. So yes. If you're feeling unwell, please reschedule, no exceptions. I will no longer take sick people. It's in my policies. I do not want to take sick people. I used to do it all the time. I got so sick in December. I was sick for a month and a half. I was like, I'll never do that again. Refunds are not given for services rendered. Credit may be offered at my discretion. So, do you guys give refunds? This is a good topic.
Yeah, let's go through these. This is fun. This is really great. And let's also add
Let's add.
the boundaries with kindness, not mean, and also a little bit of a world-class tone with each one. So we did at our spa, we were a very bustling salon and spa, and we did a 72-hour reminder. And the reason why we did that, and this was over a decade ago, you guys, is because you have the opportunity now to fill that spot. There's more time to fill that spot if versus doing a 24-hour reminder. And then with that, I would also say a really nice caveat to that would be to have a people who want to be on the cancellation list. Like I just did that over the weekend with my dog trainer. He's like, I'm all booked up. There's a competition coming up. I go, do you have a cancellation list? He goes, no, that's a good idea. I go, can I be the first one on it? Do you know what? They called. So when you have a running cancellation list, where people really want to get in with you, then now you're like, great, I have an opening with that 72 hour. You have more time to fill that. The late arrivals, 10 minutes, I think that's a wonderful grace period because you want to be able to deliver the best service possible. And if now you're scrambling and running behind, I think that's worded beautifully. All appointments require, whenever we're using like these words like require and all of those things, I do like the deposit. Somebody also forgive me, I didn't see that because there's a lot of people that are in the chat box, which is great. I like the word retainer as well, like to retain to hold your appointment. It'll be $25, it'll be $40, whatever. No guests or children, and it's just like, how can we word this where it's world class? We love children. However, this is your time. And so, this is not the daycare, just kidding. No, but it's all how we word it. Like, so no, but like no, or required, or
And
rules. Like, these are all words that could they be a little kinder? Could we add a little bit more world class to that? So we love children. However, your appointment time is focused on you and me and, uh, have childcare covered or however you want to say it. Feeling unwell? Yes, we still have people that are still stuck in 2020. I ask you to, we're in 2025, about to go into 2026, like it's happening. We're already in, third quarter. And so So we should not be in that whole mindset. However, um, I call it the COVID mindset. However, no way do we want to get sick, and no way do we want um, our clients to show up to an appointment unwell. If you're feeling that someone is abusing that policy, then just that's what we would call like a one case, treating people case by case in that. You know who the habitual offenders are, right? We all do. And then refunds are not given. Like again, how could we word this a little bit better? Because like your goal is to always make it right. If you know when that client's showing up that they're a nightmare appointment, and I just had a meeting with my team of somebody that we brought on and they did a switch within the second month, and we should have said, I'm sorry, we can't accommodate this anymore. And we didn't set our boundary. Instead, we tried to over deliver and we ended up doing all this work. But what, but because we wanted to make it right. But is there an opportunity to make it right? Like, so for example, in a spa setting, if somebody wasn't happy with their haircut or wasn't happy with their service, a lot of times it was a personality issue. And so our first goal was to try to make it right. Now we're also trying to figure out, are they an A client or are they a D minus client, right? But we're still going to try to make it right so that um, we can recover them. Maybe they were better suited with another service provider, for example. If you're a solo entrepreneur, that makes it a little bit difficult. That means you have to decide with your boundaries, is this client an A client? How can I make it right and offboard them at the same time where they're not going to be rebooking with me because I don't want what we call a PETA client. We all know what PETA means, right? So anyway, that's what I wanted to add to it because some of those words can make it feel harsh, and in today's world, I believe we need more kindness. We're all here to serve, and there's a way to say things. I feel like we can almost say anything to anyone, but it's how we say it. And if someone's reading these words like, no, required, then it can come off a little edgy.
I can see. I love that. So the end was these aren't hard. These aren't harsh. They're honest, professional, and they invite your client to respect your time and your standards. I would love to know, as of right now, what is the grace periods? For example, clients must cancel or reschedule 72 hours in advance. What are you guys currently having?
Yeah, that's a good one.
24 hours. So this is you jump in from here, Maxie. 24 hours. 48
Yeah,
hours.
I will. Sure. I like the 72. You know what? I test and measure everything, right? If you're doing 24, bump it to 48 and see what happens. You know, if you're doing 48, bump it to 72 and try it for a good, I think we need some traction. I think we need some time to collect data on that. So not just like a couple of weeks, but try it for a good 3 months and stick to it and see what works better. See if there's improvement in your numbers. So we believe in testing and measuring everything, and we coach everyone to do the same. So, all right, those are great answers. I love that there's at least a 24-hour in place. I think that's great because people need reminders. We're in a very distracted world, probably more than ever. Oh my God. And so people don't mean to no show. I think they're really so frazzled and distracted that we have to offer that amazing customer service to be like, great, I'll see you in 2 days. I'll see you in 3 days. Remember, so we had to really emphasize that. We won't see you tomorrow for your appointment. We're calling, we'll see you on Friday. What's today, Monday? We'll see you on Wednesday. We'll see you on Thursday. So all of these policies are wonderful. I would like to invite you to think a little differently when you're putting policies into place. They're important. You need internal policies for you and your team, and if it's just you, you're the team. So therefore, you to hold your own self accountable as to why you want to put together policies for yourself. Internally, we call them SOPs, or standard operating procedures. I actually hate the word standard. We actually put together super operating procedures for our clients. So that's my spin on it, because you're super. No, there's nothing mediocre or standard about you. So again, that cancellation policy, to require that 72 hours notice. We're so excited to see you. Your appointment is equally as important to us as it is to you. So therefore, we're reminding you 72 hours ahead of time to let you, just to remind you. So again, that require word. I'm gonna forfeit your deposit. You'll, lose your deposit. I do believe a case by case scenario should also be considered. And I also want you to think outside of the box that these external policies will be obsolete in X amount of time, meaning that you will be attracting your ideal client that wouldn't need to be reminded of any one of these. If you look at your client base now, probably your top 20% are already A clients, right? And your 80% are your B, C, D, possibly on their way out clients. Would that be fair to say? Tell me if I'm on the right track. Tell me in the chat box if I'm on the right track. Because I'd like to just get you to thinking a little bit more high level, if that's okay with you, in honoring these boundaries today. But I'd like your permission. So if you could just put that in the chat box, because I don't want to teach on something or coach on something that you don't really want to learn about. I'd rather just, I'm here for you. Jasmine says yes. Great. Candace. There's a couple of you.
I have a question too.
Yeah.
I have the first four policies in order.
Yay.
That was my question. Do you guys have these already?
Yes, yes. Okay, I love
I
this.
actually did not have a refund policy till like 2 months ago.
Yes. Yes, I love this. Okay, good. Because here's what I want you to invite you to do, and you all have a sheet of paper, is to think about those A clients that you have. Your top 20% is usually your A clients. Your top 20% are providing 80% of your revenue right now. So why are we settling for the bottom 80% of clients who we're not super happy to see? We're just taking their money because they're coming in and getting a service of something that we offer, when in reality, we would love to do the top 20% all day and see those types of people all day. So here's the beauty of it, is that those top 20% don't need these 8 policies, because the respect is already there, the love is already there, the kindness is already there. And so, did you want me to go through all of them or no?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So can you go back to the other page? Sorry, you just got ahead. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so the no-show policy, this is like a big one. I see this in the group all the time. The cancellation policy, okay, we already kind of covered that. And and the rescheduling policy, we're just going to allow them one. I mean, shouldn't this all be in a case by case scenario? And as you're working with these clients where you feel like you're enforcing these policies, I want you to think about the clients who are really those A clients. Like, oh my God, so and so's on my books tomorrow. I can't wait to see her. I can't wait to hear about her kids. I can't wait to just hear about her life. Like we all know those clients. We all had them. We all have them. And so the no-show policy is also is definitely a case by case, right? It's a case by case. If you have people no-showing you, we have to set the boundary of firing that client. And that's sometimes hard to do because we are willing, if we're desperate in wanting to reach certain numbers, we're going to be desperate on, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose the money. And that's our focus instead of doing what's right by us, you know. And so that's a major boundary. The rescheduling, I don't know that one. I mean, again, that's a would be a case by case as well. And then refund policy, I think if you come with the mindset that you're just going to make it right, like, oh my gosh, like what if somebody called and they had a chemical treatment and then the next day a chemical peel and then the next day you're following up with them because we're following up with all the clients who are getting these bigger treatments, right? To see how they're doing. And if we're not, we want to include that. But if they say, oh my gosh, something happened, you're going to want to see them right away and make it right, right? So always just have the mindset of making it right. And this is just a customer service policy because, or a customer service standpoint, because I'm sure we could all agree that, I don't know, customer service has gone out the window since 2020. We see it in restaurants, we see it in a lot of things, we see how people are talking to one another. And so to rise above and to really stand out in what I hear estheticians say, the saturated market. We'll talk about that another time. That offering that amazing customer service is where it's at. And so any one of these could be open for a conversation, right? So believe it or not, people are not coming to you for a facial, they're coming to you for something much more and much deeper. We're one of the last few that are licensed to touch people. I think there's like six, that are licensed to touch people, and that human connection is really, and we're in the relationship business, right? So that's why people who are amazing relationship builders maybe offer a mediocre service, and we're watching and we're comparing ourselves against another esthetician, let's just say, they're going to win because they have won the hearts over of that client because they're amazing relationship builders, you see. Okay. Questions, concerns on this page? Or does anybody want to speak? I love how everyone can just unmute and talk. This is like how I love to do things instead of typing in the chat box. Does any of this resonate? I'm just
Tanya
curious.
said, I'm just getting ready for my grand opening.
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, explained well. Awesome. I can go off on my Gemini squirrel mind. All right, we can go to the next page then, because I think that there's a little bit more. Oh my God. Okay, let's talk about number 7. Okay. So I'm just gonna say it plain as day, and then you can digest it, think about it. But if you're accepting prepayments or you have that as a requirement, you're putting a barrier there. You're putting a barrier there. I think deposits, retainer, are fine, but a prepayment I would suggest against because it is a barrier. Someone that doesn't require that, they might move on to be like, I'm going to go to the next esthetician. And you have to ask yourself, why are is there anybody that's doing that right now? That's asking for a full payment? Because we actually have a coaching client right now and we're getting her to reconsider that. That, she's getting 5 new clients a week, and I'm like, you could probably get more if you took that off. Let's test it and measure it. So I was just curious if anybody has that full prepayment intact right now. And if not, okay, I've had to do this maybe about 21 years ago, only because we're repeating no-shows. Yeah, exactly. So and if we were braver and we were really stepping into ourselves, our value, raising our standards, and if she was honest, she would probably be like, I should have fired those 3 clients. It frees up space, it frees up energy, and it makes room for your A clients, right? So the deposits I think are okay, but the full prepayment, I would ask you to reconsider and test and measure just the deposit and see what happens and let us know. Health and safety, 100%. That is definitely, we, and as Maria said, you were out for like a month and a half. That is just no fun getting sick from a client. So I would love to know. I think we all brushed up on our sanitation in 2020. We're like, what? We all went overboard and we see it, which I think is great. It was a great reminder to show us what we should have already been doing on that level. And we took it like, so do you want people to share? Because you have that in there, Maria, like to share the sanitation practices?
You sure?
Or did you mean like share it, like make it visible
Yeah, like
for?
make it visible.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant. Sorry, I read that wrong. I'm just now seeing these slides, you guys, so I'm totally riffing this. Just so you know. Yeah. So yeah, including that late grace period before, we talked about that earlier on the earlier slide, and we also talked about the children and how to word that. Like, we love children. We love children. They're our future. But this is your appointment time, and you deserve to have this where your children and your dogs, well, maybe dogs, but just kidding, are taken care of or have childcare. So
I have
this
a
is,
question. Is there
yeah.
anything on here that we didn't cover? Let me go back really quick. So the 8 core policies would be cancellation, no show, rescheduling, refund, late arrivals, children, deposit or prepayment, health and safety. Is there anything else that you guys have or that should be added?
So where this is going to come from as you're thinking about a policy is where your own standards are right now. So whatever you're saying yes to, those D and F clients, that's your standards. So how can you raise your standards? And so when people are like, oh, I don't know, like what the difference between successful people and really, really, really successful people is your ability to say no to things. And we feel bad saying no. But where another policy might
100%.
come from is your own values, your own belief system, your own, like one of the things that I had at my spa, because I used to live in Japan, and they have the most amazing customer. We think we're doing customer service well here in the United States until you live in another country like Japan. where the customer service is hands down, blow your mind, roll out the red carpet. I mean, holy cow. So when people would come into my spa, I wanted them out of their element and into my element as quickly as possible. So out of your street clothes, out of your shoes, putting on slippers, putting on a robe, getting into my element, leaving that part of you over there in the locker, and getting into my element. And then that was just that was more of an SOP than a policy. But that just kind of gives you an idea. But the any policy that you add is going to come from your own values. So is there anything that out of the H that anyone is doing um any more of besides the 8?
I personally have explained the treatments to my guests because there's times when people come in and they go, I want a chemical peel and a dermaplane and a microderm and this and that. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. Let's talk about what we're gonna do. I mean, that's not a policy, but it's just something that helped my clients understand. I think those clients have become a very much an A client because they understand what I'm doing.
I love that. And so there's a good one. Maybe a policy is that they fill out the online intake form prior to arrival. So where we missed the point, and I love that, I think her name was Gabriella. Her name disappeared as soon as her mic went off. But thank you for sharing that because I think I love booking sites and I also hate them.
Yeah.
Here's,
Sorry.
here-
Yeah. It's
here's why.
Gabrielle. My kids
Oh
are in the
yeah, yeah.
background.
Thank
So
you. Thank you, Gabriella,
not a
because
problem.
it's taking the expert, we're the experts. And so no consumer should be going to our site being like, I want the dermaplaning, I want the microcurrent, I want what? No, 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 we haven't seen them yet. We haven't put our hands on them yet. We haven't done a thorough intake and with them yet. And so how do we manage that? And so maybe your policy is completing the online form and then going through it with them when they arrive, because let's get it, we know that they're not going to answer things completely and we got questions, so we're going to go through that with them. But wouldn't that be like the most amazing customer service ever? I see you're interested in the dermaplane. What we coach our high level clients is they're not allowed to go pick off the menu. They're only allowed to schedule their first consultation and possibly a get to know you treatment. That's kind of a benign treatment, like something that anybody could, any skin condition could, besides like severe acne, could, and that just takes the guesswork out. And then it's up to you, the esthetician, to now put them through the treatment plan that is suited for them. Doesn't that sound so much better? And so now you're taking control back because why? You're the expert. And so I think that's a beautiful policy to have, like we're so excited to see you. Please complete this intake form prior to your appointment time. And there's all kinds of ways you can use free Google Forms is free. There's
I
some, yeah.
love this. Amani said, policies based on the type of service, i.e., my main service is eyelash extensions. So coming with mascara on or after drinking coffee can prolong their visit. So that kind of ties into prepping
Yeah,
for your service. I love that.
absolutely, absolutely. See, so it kind of does depend on what you're doing. A Brazilian wax expert, that's how I started, is going to have different um things. Like I always wanted to get on the phone with them. I wanted to have that was my way of customer service. Like, how did you find out about me? Do you have, the hair growth? But that can also be automated as well. Do you have a quarter inch of hair? When was have you ever been waxed before? Have you, whatever's important to you as that wax expert. But I love that. I love how it is. tailored to a specific service, and primarily your top service, right? So just like you're doing your top 20% and thinking about your top 20% clients and how can I get more of them, you're also looking at your top 10 or top 20% services. What is the economic denominator? What is bringing in the most money? And, is it your goal to earn X amount of dollars per month? And if and every esthetician has this dream of reaching the $100,000, right? Annually. And it's not just, anyway, I don't want to squirrel. My Gemini mind is going, Maria. You gotta ring me in.
So one of the reasons why I was excited to share the 72-hour policy, and you can, correct it, is when I was going through the Proverbs 31 woman, it says she laughs at the days to come. Next week, we're going to be talking about marketing. I really love the fact that she laughs the days to come. So our saying for the group of this year is we don't get scared, we get smart. So I think that's where the Prop 31 came in, is I don't want us moving out of fear. I want us moving strategically. So giving us that 72-hour window gives us time to either fill the gap. Maybe you can condense your day so that you have time to go to that soccer game that you thought you were going to miss. But I love the fact that in Proverbs 31:25, it says she laughs at the days to come. I want you guys to really take a moment and think. Are you laughing at the days to come, or are you scared? Are you worried? Are you like, I don't know what the next thing is going to be? So I want you to take some time and really digest that. I've totally moved from a place of fear before, especially during the pandemic. And now I'm like, I'm going to be more strategic. So when I was doing this planning of the Proverbs 31 woman, I actually planned my pop-ups for all of July and August, which before I was just kind of doing them on the whim. So, but that also gives me time to, when I have those 72 hours notice, to fill those gaps up with clients. Because I try to make it between 500 and 1,000 a day. So I want to make my goal for the day. So I will, fill those gaps. What do you think about the 72 hours, Maxine?
Yeah, we definitely have been talking about the 72 hours and the opportunity there to, if somebody does cancel, we have more time to fill that slot, right? So from a business strategic perspective, and if you have a running cancellation list of people who, and here's what we also used to do. Like, let's just say somebody was on the book for next week. What's stopping you from
I love that.
taking initiative to say, hey, I have an opening this coming Wednesday. And so, would you like to come in Wednesday? Because now you'll be able to fill next week. You have even more time to fill that.
Yes.
So my front desk team, I was the only one that trained my front desk team. They knew that if I came in the morning and I saw empty spots in service provider schedules, that was their main goal. So, so part of the training was who's the most important person? And they're like, the client. I'm like, wrong. The most important person is the service provider, because when we're taking care of the service provider, we are taking care of the client. Not that we're not taking care of the client, but that is the priority. So to fill those slots. And so sometimes they would borrow into the next week, but then we have more time to fill next week, you see.
I love that.
So yeah, so it's very strategic with that 72-hour slot. So I hope you try it.
What is the cost of not having boundaries?
Mm.
So without clear boundaries, you invite confusion and chaos. Clients cancel last minute with no consequences. You have to chase down payment. You feel uncomfortable enforcing your own rules. Your business begins to drain your joy and energy.
Yeah.
How many of us feel uncomfortable enforcing your own rules? Me. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow.
Absolutely.
It's doing this to me. So, uh, you create a consistent client experience. You attract aligned, respectful clients. You reduce emotional stress and decision fatigue. That is huge. You lead with clarity and confidence. You gain time, peace, power back in your day. I've learned that boundaries cut stress so much, Tiffany says.
Absolutely.
Um, so due by Friday. Are you guys all in the chat? So I would love for you guys to review your current policies, update each of the 8. If they don't align with you completely, that's just kind of like what you could do. Post your cancellation and no-show policies visibly, booking site on your in your treatment rooms, etc. Share. I wonder if we can also put our cancellation policy on our client intake form. Share one policy update in the group chat by Friday. Use the group chat to ask for help on how to word things. I'm actually going to make a whole post inspired by Maxine that's going to say, and I'll send it over to you, that says, say this instead of this. So like instead of saying refund, what did you say?
Will
There was
require, there was just a couple of you know what they are for people is they're triggering words.
they are triggering words.
So think of,
Uh,
right. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. That's always, I don't know if I'm in the chat. I used to be. I don't know what happened.
You're in the chat.
I'm in the Proverbs chat. I used to be. I don't see it show up anymore. You have to might
After
read.
bookings, do you email to your clients? So yes, it should be automated. What booking site do you have? I'm gonna put the chat in here.
I meant the chat in the Proverbs chat in Facebook. That's what I meant. That one.
So at the end it says, you don't have to choose between kindness or clarity. You can lead with warmth and still be operating from wisdom. One thing that the Proverbs 31 woman was wise. So we're moving from a place of wisdom. You can create a sacred, peaceful space for clients without sacrifice of your own. I believe that peace is like so biblical to me, because if you're really moving with intention and wisdom and you pay attention, we're gonna cut out chaos and burnout, and we're here to make profit because we want to buy land like the Prop 31 woman. I'm gonna put the chat inside right now. 1 second. Do you guys have any questions?
I love questions.
Invites. Where's the chat? Boom.
Sorry, it's a lot easier for me just to unmute it.
Yeah.
So I work for a spa, and I would love to like use all of this advice while working for someone. One day, hopefully, be on my own. But how would you apply this to me, who is currently working for someone else?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I had 19 employees. So you're valuable to your employer. And if you brought them to her to say, I just took this class and I have some ideas for the business, like that would be incredible, right? Like, so I always appreciated when, um, sorry, my computer was going to shut down. I was like, oh my God, how did my power get turned off? All of a sudden, everything faded. Um, when any of my employees came to me with ideas, I just loved that because that just shows that you care about the business. So I would just approach it like that. I have some really great ideas to share that I learned at this class, and would love to know your thoughts. Do you have a good relationship with her, the owner? I don't want to assume it's a her, but do you have a good relationship with your employer?
it, it's a little rocky right now. I ended up taking July off for like more personal reasons, but we left on a rocky note. So that's really discouraged me from even going back.
Ah,
So I feel like then this came up and I missed last week. So I feel like this was just more of like a how to refresh myself and how I was it was on me. I know I was being burnt out at home and there. So I think that month was the month getaway that I'm doing is a refresh for me. So hopefully I can go back to her and be like, this is we're starting fresh. These are some of my ideas that I learned because I reflected on myself and can go back to her.
That's
I
beautiful.
love that. And I think this is a great extending the olive branch,
Mm-hmm.
to say, because it's going to show how much you care about the business too. And being really honest about why you're burnt out.
Yeah.
Just like any relationship, we really having the adult conversation is the hardest. That's also a boundary thing that we've been talking about today. It's like we can't expect anyone to be a mind reader to our significant others and so on
Yeah.
and so forth, right?
Yes.
So it's the same thing. So I think you coming to her, remember words have power. So not you like really thinking about and being mindful about the word choices. And I think it's going to open up a whole new relationship for you and your employer. I would love to know how this goes for you.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Like I said, I've had time to reflect. I have a meeting with her before I actually like go back on the schedule. So yeah, hopefully we can.
Good luck.
Wish I could find somebody like you.
I know.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm actually quite. I grew up in a Christian household, so I came back to my faith. I think about a year ago, after having my kids. So I just realized like I want them to kind of grow up this way versus in a very worldly way. So, oops. Yeah. Oh, sorry if you hear my kids in the background.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, you guys have homework. Um, Update your policies. The chat. So there's one on Instagram, and I made one on Facebook just so we can keep the conversation going. The main one is mainly on Facebook. It's in the group. So if you go to the group, you go to our group, and then you check your chats. It's in the chats too. And then if you look up Proverbs 31 Woman, it's also on Instagram. Um, Alrighty, so next week we're going to be talking about because she laughs at the days to come. We're going to be talking about marketing. So I really want to take this time because I want us to stay ready so we don't have to get ready. And we're going to talk about our marketing for the rest of the year. So I really hope that you guys take this week to let's clean up our menus because that's what's going to run into the marketing. And then we're going to do our policies and procedures or whatever I said. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye bye.